Points. 2 Kawasaki's, 1 Yamaha, 1 Suzuki and a Norton. And on the second row, number 20, Robert Dunlop, he finished third. Now that's Terry Rymer's teammate on the other Norton. The Norton's showing well here today. Dunlop will be off to the Isle of Man TT within the next few days. As the green light goes, and everyone, well, somebody paddling at the back of the pack there, but everyone who matters, certainly from the front, is away safely into Redgate. And it was a good start by Rob McElnay, who just got in front there at Redgate, and there he is. And Brian Morrison had a flying start, number 6. So Brian Morrison is ahead of Terry Rymer. So Morrison from Kirkcaldy on the Kawasaki, number 6, in second place. But out in front, number 1, Rob McElnay leads halfway around the first lap. 16 laps, quite a long way to go, so nobody will be doing anything silly at this stage in the proceedings.
Yeah, well, this is exactly the same as we had in the first race here today. Rob McElnay got a flying start and is leading. Number 6, Brian Morrison. Number 23, Terry Rymer, just behind him. Jamie Whitham in 4th spot. So nearly a repetition of what we had in the first race, but let's hope that we have more finishes and less people falling off in this one.
Another good start from the number 8 Ducati of Trevor Nation, who I think is in something like 7th place at the moment. There is Nation going through. Right behind him, Ian Simpson, number 22. But the Kawasaki of Brian Morrison, a flying start having gone past Rob McElnay. So Brian Morrison looking as though he's displaying some of the form that we saw from Morrison, and you and I, Steve, had a conversation about this. Hasn't really hit that form, has he, in the last 2 or 3 seasons, but he's certainly on the machinery now which will allow him to do it. And 1992, now he's settled in on the Kawasaki, could be a good year for Brian Morrison.
Well, let's hope so. Brian Morrison dominated the domestic championships 3 or 4 years ago when he was riding for Honda, but he had a tumble at his first outing this year at Thruxton, broke a bone in his elbow, and this is only his second ride back this season. So considering that, Brian is going very, very well. He just seems to be pulling away from Rob McElnay at the moment. So this is interesting stuff.
Number 6, Morrison leads. In second place, number 1, Rob McElnay. Then it is Terry Rymer, number 23, on the Norton. In 4th place, it's number 5, Jamie Whitham, tucked right in. Then it's Robert Dunlop, number 20, and John Reynolds playing the waiting game in 6th. So Kawasaki's 1st and 6th, and they really have a gaggle of machinery, a real mixture of stuff making up the filling in the sandwich. McElnay then number 1, 4 lengths down on the race leader, onto the fastest part of the circuit, and this is where we would expect the Nortons to score, but Jamie Whitham is keeping, and Jamie Whitham locking up the back end, number 5 of the Suzuki, but he got away with it. He scraped in there with the back wheel locked up, and Whitham up to 3rd.
Not for long, Terry Rymer's going to outpower him. Whitham went in there so fast, and this is a fantastic shot. This is John Reynolds. There's Jamie Whitham's machine. Jamie Whitham's closing right into Rob McElnay. Jamie Whitham is outstanding on the brakes. He is so late on the brakes. You saw there his machine snaking and weaving, but that's just Jamie Whitham. He just leaves his brake, and you'll see him close in on Rob McElnay as they come in here, right up close behind him. But we have Robert Dunlop, I think. No, number 23, Terry Rymer's just nipped under the inside of Jamie Whitham. But fantastic shots here from Jamie Whitham's machine.
Well, not only is he outstanding on the brakes, I think he's standing on the brakes. At this moment, he's going in really deep into Redgate behind Rob McElnay. And Jamie Whitham, determined to make amends for that tumble in the late stages of leg 1, is piling on the coals here. But look at Morrison out in front. This is one of the best rides I've seen, albeit early in the race. This is one of the best rides I've seen from number 6, Brian Morrison. Not only in recent seasons, but I'd go so far as to say ever. He's back to the old Brian Morrison. If he can maintain this form, he's back to the Brian Morrison we knew. Yeah,
and it's a pretty hard thing to come back into it. After a 4 or 5 week break from injury, it's pretty tough to get back into it. Terry Rymer is going to be the man on the charge again, I think. You see him in number 23 in 2nd spot, Terry Rymer there. He's got a very fast motorcycle. He's getting better and better every time he rides it, and he's really going to be the man that's going to push Brian Morrison, I think, at this stage. You watch Jamie Whitham again, very late on the brakes, goes up the inside of Rob McElnay. There he goes. Number 6 goes through, 23 Terry Rymer, Jamie Whitham in 3rd spot.
Well, the number 5 Suzuki of Whitham in third, the chap who is now closing on the back of the Black Norton, Terry Rymer, as we've said, is really tremendous on the brakes. But that Suzuki is also a pretty quick motorcycle, and Mick Grant has got the youngster sorted out. I mean, Jamie has been with him through the biggest part of his career, and Mick has been a calming influence on James and has steadied him down, and I think that James really does have the potential to go even further. We were talking earlier about the possibility of getting somebody up to a Grand Prix level, and Jamie Whitham, I think, would be on my list of riders for a 500 GP ride.
Well, I think if Jamie Whitham's now calmed down, I wouldn't want to see him when he's not, because he's still riding very hard. And there's Brian Morrison, number 6 in front, very, very close behind him, number 23, Terry Rymer on the Norton. Now, Terry Rymer is going to be biding his time, I think. There's no rush. We have a long race here. It's a 16-lap race. There's absolutely no point in him tearing away and doing something silly at these early stages.
While Morrison, number 6, is out in front, the note has just come through that possibly Reynolds has retired. It looks as though John Reynolds might be in the pits, which means that the number 3 Kawasaki has retired, making it all in all a pretty dismal day for John Reynolds. Morrison, however, number 6, leading this one, fighting off another challenge from Rymer, who is equally trying to fend off the Jack Russell-like attacks of Jamie Whitham, all climbing all over the back end. But the power of the Norton streaking away again down towards the Melbourne hairpin, and this is Whitham in true braking fashion, right on the back end. There's nowhere for him to go, but he has a serious look at the inside between the Norton and the curb. But the power of the Norton is demonstrated there. This is Whitham again on the brakes. Great pictures here at Goddard. You can see how the circuit just drops away. Not too much power, just feed it in gently. And the Norton in a straight line is a rocket ship. And he's now on the inside of the race leader, and Rymer has gone into the front purely on power. Yeah,
you just saw the speed of the Norton there. The Kawasaki is very fast, but the Norton, and Terry's gone a little wide there. Terry Rymer's gone wide. Morrison got on the power early, he's got underneath him. So now Morrison has got the line for Craner Curve. So that was a nice move. Jamie Whitham right behind him again now, but the Suzuki just doesn't seem to have the speed that either the Kawasaki or the Norton has at this moment.
We are going to stay with this three-way scrap for the lead. Perfect symmetry. Just watch these riders go from left to right. Whitham then on the inside of the Norton and up to second place. Now on the straight, is he going to lose out to the Norton? If you see a black shape, and there it is. Terry Rymer went past again on the climb up towards Coppice, and Jamie is tucked in the slipstream. That must be maddening to do it on riding ability and then have the Norton come past on sheer power. But Jamie's going again on the brakes. Jamie Whitham then, number 5. We're riding with him down towards the hairpin, and don't forget the hairpin is where he fell in race 1. Phenomenally quick, the Norton here. Now, is it going to be right or left? It's on the inside, and Whitham is putting the power on, but no, round the outside again goes the Norton, and that was a little bit too much. The back shot out of the Norton, and Jamie Whitham was on the right line to capitalise on that, but Terry Rymer stayed on.
Yeah, Terry just lost grip on the rear end and started to slide and kicked out on him there. But you see at the point there how quick the Norton is and it gets away. But Terry Rymer has a bit of a problem here because he's wanting to experiment going inside, outside to Brian Morrison, number 6, who's leading. But he has to be very careful because as soon as he just experiments going a little bit wide to try and pass Brian Morrison, Jamie Whitham has passed him also. So he's kind of having to ride a little bit defensively to keep Jamie Whitham at bay, but also he's trying to get past Brian Morrison, number 6. So there we have Morrison, number 6 in the lead. 23, Terry Rymer.
Two of these 750cc races per round of Super Cup, and a full bag full of points up for grabs in each of the encounters. Jamie Whitham now in third place, number 5, on the back of the Norton. Trevor Nation, that's number 8. Trevor Nation has parted company with the Oxford Products Ducati, and that was a shame because he had 4th place in the first outing, and that was a great pity for him. It was looking like a good day for Trevor Nation. He's definitely on the pace, he's got the speed, and the Ducati appears now to be fully sorted. And Whitham again going in on the brakes. Just look at that, he's closing on the back of Terry Rymer, but he's too close for comfort as far as Rymer's concerned. But the Norton simply outpowers the Suzuki, picks up the front wheel. But what impresses me is the way Brian Morrison is controlling this race from the front. Number 6, Brian Morrison, the 31-year-old Scot, having a superb ride on the Kawasaki, and teammate John Reynolds, of course, won't be too happy about this.
Well, I don't suppose he will. Nobody likes your teammate. If you're sat in the pits, you don't really like your teammate winning, albeit it's great for the Kawasaki team, but it's hard to accept because I guess John Reynolds really has set out this season as being the #1 rider, and it's going to be tough for him to see his teammate out there leading this race. But nevertheless, it's going to be great for Kawasaki. But Terry Rymer's looking very, very menacing now. Also Jamie Whitham. So I wouldn't like to place money on any one of these 3 riders. Which one's going to win at this present time?
Just look at the style of Whitham, the number 5 rider in 3rd place. If we get a rear shot behind, just look how he climbs off the motorcycle. The others are more or less as one with the bike, but young Jamie Whitham is hanging off the inside, throwing his weight and transferring his weight inside, so and there you are, you see, he's got his body, his back end and the whole of his body hanging off the inside of the motorcycle, and the result of that, of course, is that his bike is slightly more upright than the bikes of the other 2, but through on the inside goes Rymer. Rymer is in front. Rymer then moves ahead. Number 23, Terry Rymer, goes ahead of number 6, Brian Morrison, but still a very, very tight 3-way tussle, and Jamie Whitham is going to make a bid for 2nd place and grabs it. Thing is, will he put too much power on just as he did last time? No. Controls the Suzuki out. Morrison then, in the space of about 300 metres, has gone from 1st to 3rd, and Jamie Whitham locked up the rear tyre again. Did Morrison capitalise? No, he didn't. Jamie Whitham, number 5, still in 2nd, but he's on the ragged edge.
He is, but the crowd here going wild. They just love to see that British Norton out in front, and they used to love to see Ron Haslam, but they're quite happy that Terry Rymer's riding it. They're jumping up and down. Number 23, Terry Rymer, leads this 2nd race here today. Jamie Whitham, number 5, in 2nd spot, trying extremely hard.
Well, the Norton team are packing up and off to the Isle of Man TT with Robert Dunlop on board. Terry Rymer, this man, won't be riding the Norton, but team manager Barry Simmons is optimistic of their chances in the Isle of Man. If they can pull off a win, it will be the first all-British win for a long, long time. A British rider on a British motorcycle. Jamie Whitham was on the curb then, almost took to the grass. The 2nd place, Jamie Whitham, now really pushing, and he's going to have to do it on riding ability because the Suzuki is slower than the Norton, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's simply that the Norton is so outstandingly quick in a straight line. It must be desperately frustrating for Jamie Whitham having to ride his socks up, and he's on the inside. He's closed the door. There was nowhere for Terry Rymer to go. Whitham has got his nose in front, but Terry Rymer's had to settle for 2nd until they get to the hairpin. Is Jamie going to stay on? Just keep it tight, Jamie. A brilliant ride, tactical ride by the youngster. But is he going to hold it?
Well, I don't think he is, because the power of the Norton again. But that was the tip. That problem manifested itself again for Terry Rymer. He just went into the S's there, couldn't stop the bike, had to run wide. That made the 2nd part of the S's more acute, and he was unable to get on the power early. So it really left the door wide open for Jamie Whitham. But once again, the power of the Norton. Rymer, number 23, is on the inside. He's got the inside line, so he's able to do it. So it makes life a lot easier when you've got the power, but he does have that problem of stopping it at the end of the straight. So he just really needs to get away from Jamie Whitham, who is so good on the brakes.
And look at Whitham, Craner curves, he's just giving it everything. Oh, dear me, Terry Rymer chomps back across the front. Jamie Whitham is so close, he's in tow here. This is brilliant stuff from Whitham, and Terry Rymer knows that he's got a race on his hands here, and I think the only place that Jamie Whitham can do it is going to be on the brakes again as they go up the rise towards Coppice, hard round Coppice, and this is where the Norton will gallop away again as they come onto the straight. But Jamie Whitham is absolutely riding out of his leathers here behind the Norton. He's in the slipstream, he's being pulled along in the draft, and this is where he could just maybe squeeze in on the brakes, but no. Rymer was pushed through there quicker than he's been before, I suspect. What a great race between these two. And where is Brian Morrison on the Kawasaki? Rymer that leads then, number 23. Then it's Jamie Whitham, number 5. And we're with Jamie now on the inside. And he's really going for it. And my goodness me, that was incredible stuff. Rymer went wide, the same problem again.
Same again. I'm not sure what this problem is, whether it's a brake problem or whether it's just the overrun of the engine. But he was telling me earlier that he does have some problems running into corners, but with that power he's come straight back up again, and he'll be in the slipstream of Jamie Whitham down the straight. Rod McElney now up to 4th spot.
Oh, breathtaking stuff here. And Jamie Whitham is just heeling that Suzuki over at an almost unbelievable angle. Number 5 Whitham leading then, and now has something in the region of 20 metres between himself and the second place incredibly quick Norton, with Terry Rymer on board. You can almost feel your knees scraping on the ground, can't you? Look at Whitham, he has his left knee there with its scraper on, just prodding it down, touching the surface of the road to make sure that he knows just how far he's got the Suzuki over. And Mick Grant, I would think, Jamie Whitham's team boss, will be standing in the pits absolutely sweating. This is a phenomenal performance for the youngster. If he can pull this one off, our fingers are crossed, but at the same time an equally brilliant performance by Rymer. And look at Morrison, he hasn't given up. These three are really going. McElney still in 4th place, and then it's Robert Dunlop, and in 6th place, number 22, Ian Simpson.
Yes, it doesn't look as though McElney's losing a lot of ground, because these two here especially are probably tripping over each other a bit. Jamie's good on the brakes going in, Terry's good coming out with the power of the Norton, so you can slow each other up. You see the Norton closing. He's on the inside line, but he's not going to pass him at this point, but he will be close enough, I think, to get the drag as they come out of this corner, out of Goddard's now, accelerating 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th gear. Now's the chance that Terry Rymer could have to number 23 there to get on the inside as they go into Redgate, but no, he's not close enough. Whitham's able to leave his braking very, very late. 11 from 16 laps, so there's still a lot of distance to go yet.
I'm just chuckling to myself really, because I feel that Brian Morrison is just sitting back there in 3rd place waiting for something to happen, because there's a fairly explosive situation at the front of this race in the form of Jamie Whitham, who is riding like I've never seen him ride before. Terry Rymer is having the ride of his life on the Norton. He's having a whale of a time. He obviously loves it, and it must be very satisfying for him to come out for the first time on a bike that was really tailored for Ron Haslam. He was out here testing at the Donington circuit, and that was the first time really he put his leg over the motorcycle. Jamie fell during testing earlier in the week, but is none the worse for that experience, and knows the circuit inside out, locks up the back brake again. And Morrison, number 6 on the green Kawasaki, is closer to Terry Rymer than he's been, so it's not over yet by any manner of means as they go down towards the hairpin again. And this is where Jamie Whitham is absolutely dynamic.
Yes, I think if Terry Rymer is going to pass Jamie Whitham, he has to be very close as they exit Goddard's corner. He's taking the inside line there, but that's quick in, but not always quick out. So now is the point where hard on the power, but putting 150 brake horsepower down on the road through a relatively small tyre, but he's got the inside line, he's got the power, so he's through. Unless Jamie Whitham can outbrake him down the inside again, but no. Once again, on board camera, we're watching from Jamie Whitham's bike to Terry Rymer. So off we go down Craner curves, 3rd gear, 4th gear, into 5th gear. In the region of 120, 125 miles an hour at this point. Hard left, clipping the apex there, but Whitham's down the inside, and he's done it again as they come into the old hairpin. Whitham's got the inside line, but Terry Rymer could cut back at this point and get him again. He's got the speed, but he can't get through. Whitham's using all the roads. So Jamie Whitham is riding the race of his life here this afternoon.
Will you please keep your knees inside the armchairs at home, because this is pretty close action. Whitham diving through on the inside there again, and just look, I mean, the man is so brave on the downhill rushes. He knows full well the only chance he's got to beat the Norton is to outbrake it, outmaneuver it, and simply try and outride Terry Rymer on the parts where he knows he can do it, and that is essentially downhill and into the turns. It's just unfortunate maybe for Jamie that the final dash to the flag is going to be out of a right-hander, up that long climb towards Goddard's, which is where they are now, and you can see that coming to the right-hander now, you can see where the Norton has the power. Now, tail-enders ahead of them. Rymer's on the inside. Just watch this. Up towards the hill at God. Just look at the Norton. It streaks past Jamie Whitham. And there are tail-enders ahead, and this could well sort out Terry Rymer. He's right in the wheel tracks of a back marker, and we're with Jamie Whitham right in the wheel tracks of Terry Rymer. Away down the straight again towards Redgate. Which side of the tail-ender is our mobile cameraman going to go? He's on the inside. Brilliant through. Hanging the knee right out on the road, Jamie Whitham. But the Norton now, it looks as though Terry Rymer might have made up his mind to clear off. Well,
at that point, Jamie Whitham made a bit of a mistake at the Melbourne Hairpin. That time it was his problem. He ran wide, which allowed Terry Rymer to get on the inside of him. Now, Rymer at this point, if he's going to do it, he needs to make a break, and he needs to get himself enough distance to stop Jamie Whitham keep coming up the inside. But I'm sure that Whitham hasn't given up yet.
Top 6 then, Terry Rymer, the all-black Norton outfit out in front. Jamie Whitham still battling on in the Suzuki. Morrison, Rob McElnay a comfortable 4th. Robert Dunlop on Norton number 2. And Ian Simpson, number 22, still there in 6th place. I said earlier that maybe he doesn't go as well on the 750 as he does the 600, but certainly 6th place, very creditable, because these guys are motoring. They are really hard into this race. And what a super ride by Brian Morrison. He'll be thrilled with this one. Number 6 Morrison then in 3rd place, and closing just a little bit on the Suzuki, but they are now stringing out. The Norton is just so quick, they seem to have no answer for it, but Whitham again on the inside of it, but again the Norton powering round the long way, has got that extra little bit of grunt out of the turn. Steve, just tell us quickly, 16 laps, a heavy motorcycle, slick tyres. The tyres surely won't go off, they will go the distance.
Well, they won't go off, but they will lose some of their adhesion. The higher the temperature gets, the greasier they get, so without any shadow of a doubt, they don't perform as good at the end of the race as they do at the beginning. But 16 laps on a day like today with thick racing leathers on, it's purgatory out there. It's so hot in those leathers, so the riders will be getting a little tired also. They're trying to give it 110% over this period of time. Now, this could do Terry Rymer some good. No, the back marker's moved out the way, so it didn't slow Whitham at all, but that's one of the advantages in front. You can sometimes nip through past the back marker. What a fantastic shot here. You saw the Norton wriggling and weaving. Whitham goes to the inside line. The door is closed firmly in his face from Terry Rymer. Rymer now will accelerate hard, using that power to stretch the lead away up the hill. They go into Coppice Corner, 3rd gear, 80 miles an hour, accelerating now, short shifting into 5th gear, into 6th gear as they get over the crest of the hill. Now maximum speed at this point. Now Jamie Whitham will try and close in again on the brakes. He tries, he's looking on the inside. Is he going to do it? Oh.
Well, you didn't have time to do the answer, did you? No, he didn't quite, but my golly, it was close. Superb description there of the on-bike work from Steve, and Jamie Whitham is just taking our breath away here, because he is giving it 110%. He's on the inside again, but the Norton is going to nail him, but he's going to close the door, and he moves across on. What he should really do, and here's me standing here telling him what he should do, is move across and just maybe close the door so that Terry Rymer is forced to change his line and send him the long way round. Terry Rymer, number 23, the race leader. Jamie Whitham, number 5. And Morrison, number 6, who is drawing ever closer now. Rob McElnay, 2, number 1, is closing. 2, number 1, that's a bit paradoxical, but you know what I mean. McElnay, number 1, in 4th place. He's closing as well. So now this 4-way scrap, 3-way scrap has become a 4-way scrap for the lead here, as Terry Rymer leads Jamie Whitham by the narrowest of margins. And, well, it's anybody's guess, but Whitham now, would you change places with him? No, I don't think I would. And he's on the inside, and he's done it this time, and takes it just a little bit wide. That's a superb move up towards Coppice. This is where the Norton's got the power again. But I think if Jamie cuts back now, will he go for the inside? Terry Rymer really cut the corner nicely there. There was nowhere for the Suzuki pilot to go. So Rymer, number 23, on the black bike, is the race leader, coming up against the tail-enders now. Jamie Whitham is on the inside, and he's through again, and might just use the tail-enders to get in the way. This could be the opportunity.
Well, Jamie Whitham, if he can fling a back marker to Terry Rymer, but Rymer's got the speed, he's looking for the inside, but oh, I don't really think I want to watch this, and they're through. Okay, now Jamie Whitham needs to keep a tight line, which he's done. Rymer's got a tight line, so it's all going to be about a drag up to here. Off they go. Rymer's going to pick up some speed here, and he's closing. He's on the inside again. He's looking for the inside line. But I think Whitham's got the speed. No, Rymer's gone through, but Rymer could run wide at this point. Yes, he does again, and Whitham goes through. This is unbelievable.
Rob McElnay was on the grass. Now McElnay, number 1, has come up to join the action, and he was actually on the grass coming out of Goddard's. So he's having a go at Morrison, number 6. Jamie Whitham then number 5 in second place. There's your race leader. 2.5 miles to go. And can Whitham do it? It's going to go all the way down to the wire. Remember, 20 points at stake for the win, 17 for second, 15 for third, and 13 for fourth. And it's all about these 4 men now, but really it's about these 2. Terry Rymer, the man in front, and Jamie Whitham, number 5. And we're riding with him, and he is going to give it his utmost, but no, Rymer chops back again. But we've seen what Jamie Whitham can do, but I think with the Norton in front at this stage in the proceedings, it's all but over.
No, I don't think so. I think Jamie Whitham's going to have a go at the end of this straight. He's got to run onto the back now if he can get in the slipstream. I think we're going to see Jamie Whitham go up the inside here as we go into the S's. I might be wrong, but as I say, I don't know if I really want to watch. Here he goes, but no, he's decided against it. But he still has 2 more chances. There's 2 more corners. But Rymer now is using every bit of power he can put on it. Whitham is very, very good as they come down to Melbourne Loop, accelerating hard. This is his chance. He can't get on the inside, but Rymer's going to run wide again. So Whitham has cut back on the inside. Rymer's got the line though. Oh, this is unbelievable. But now it's down to Terry Rymer. If Rymer doesn't make a mistake, he's got this race, but he could easily run wide. He's kept a tight line. It's Rymer's race. Rymer has got it. Unbelievable race, the best I've ever seen.
Over the line then for the win, Terry Rymer. Jamie Whitham saying, what more could I do? And absolutely, what more could he do? Brian Morrison, number 6, an incredible result for Kawasaki. And Rob McElnay, well, that's no disgrace, finishing 4th in that company, is it, Steve? A brilliant result, but a double win here today at Donington. First time out on the Norton for number 23, Terry Rymer. What a sensational debut.
Jamie Whitham